What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. It is Friday, July 23rd. I'm Lawrence Presman. This man is Steve Merril. I am a haggard mess. I spent a day hydrofoiling. Yesterday, I golfed, and then last night, I played 2 hours of hockey. I am 52. I barely was able to get out of bed today, Steve.
Yeah, you don't. The biggest thing about getting older is you don't recover as fast. You know, we can still do stuff, but it's that recovery time, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's you know what it is? It's the groin and the hip flexors. Those are where all the trouble lies. Anyway, Cleveland Guardians, Steve. Yeah. Did they do a focus group on that? How did they come up with that?
I mean, at least they have a nickname. My Washington football team's going another season without a nickname, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. And by the way, just so you know, Prez, I know how politically correct you are. They have crossed Warriors off the list. Washington Warriors was like one of the three front runners for the past year, but there will be no reference whatsoever to Native Americans. So Warriors is off the list. I know you'll sleep better now.
Yeah, I had no problem with Warriors. I actually think it's a great name. I don't understand why it's politically incorrect, but I don't understand anything that is going on in this world anymore. I'm too old for that. I'll just let the world change and I will watch it. But I really think Guardians is as bad as it gets. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't. Anyway, whatever. That's the people in Cleveland's problem, not mine. Steve, we got a jam-packed show today. Rob Veno up first. He's going to talk Detroit, Kansas City, Oakland, Seattle, and we're going to do some win totals in college football. He's going to look at the Tennessee team. Skee Profits up after him. He's looking at 3 baseball games, Angels, Twins, Nationals, Orioles, and the Dodgers, Rockies. And Kyle Handsome Anthony joining us. UFC fights Saturday. Man, I love the UFC. Steve, what's you got a big game breakdown coming? Are you ready? No.
Yeah,
no, I've put you on the spot.
But we'll find something. You know me. I don't like to prepare. Teddy prepares way too much. Look how stiff Teddy is. Prez, you got to admit, preparing too much like Teddy makes you very stiff, right? You got to flow. You got to be like with the moment here.
Dude, Teddy puts like 2-3 hours into this show, and I put about 2-3 minutes. I don't know if that's noticeable to everybody. But hey, whatever floats your boat, man. Whatever floats your boat. What did you learn last night in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Well, I learned that these bullpens in baseball are still pretty damn unpredictable. I had the Dodgers last night. I had Rob Veno's Los Angeles Dodgers. Hey, look, you got the best team in baseball, the favorite to win the World Series, the defending world champs, and the best run differential in all of baseball, even though they're not winning their division. I get the Giants are winning that division right now, but they have a 3-1 lead going into the 9th inning. I was feeling pretty good about it. And then Kenley Jansen implodes, gives up 4 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Giants put up 4 in the top of the 9th to win that game. In a 3rd straight game in a row in which we had a backwards result the second half of the game in this Giants-Dodgers series. So it was an exciting one. Skee's going to talk about the Dodgers, his LA Dodgers, a little bit later in the show, as you mentioned. So we'll see if there is a hangover tonight. But big picture takeaway on Jansen real quick. You know, this is a guy that's really struggling. And we keep talking about watching certain players with this whole grip stuff, spin rate debacles. And the Dodgers have been the team to watch because Bauer came over from Cincinnati. He's the poster child of this whole thing. A lot of the Dodgers pitchers, starters and relievers, their spin rates are up. And Jansen, the first 2 months of the season, Prez, he'd given up 7 hits in 22 innings. 7 hits in 22 innings. In fact, if you go over the first 3 months of the season, he'd given up 11 hits in 32 innings. And now let's look at the past 3 weeks of July only. 11 hits in 32 innings, he's given up 13 hits in 5 innings, including that blown lead last night. So I learned that Kylie Jansen has something wrong right now. And unfortunately, as a handicapper, you can't necessarily predict which relief pitchers are going to pitch. But we continue to see these games blown. That Giants-Dodgers series, we really saw 3 straight games in which, we had a flip-flop lead change.
Yep. Good stuff, Steve. Guys in the chat room, Andrew Woj, starting his day with some dead. Andrew, great way to start the day. I'm hoping a little Scarlet Begonias there. That's one of my faves. Jessica talks about my beard. Steve, literally on the walk downstairs, Vivian, my woman, said, you don't shave that thing, you don't play. So it's going today. Rob Veno, welcome to WagerTalk Today, brother. Thank you for stepping in for me on Wednesday. You'll be doing it again at least once a week until the end of the season, hopefully. So the end of summer. So I really appreciate it. How was it working with Steve?
It's great, Prez. Thanks for allowing me to step in. We don't argue as much as maybe you and Teddy, so there's a little different dynamic, but it runs pretty smooth, I think, so I'm happy to do it.
Rob and Steve, question to both of you in all seriousness. Who argues with who when Teddy and I are together?
Depends which Friday I'm on.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I don't know who the instigator. I mean, you're definitely the instigator.
I never start, ever. I never start with that guy.
Yeah, but I feel like you might antagonize. Yeah, there you go.
The instigator. There's no question he's the instigator. But Teddy throws that second punch, and as we know, Rob, the guy that throws the second punch, Prez, they're the ones that get the penalty flag.
He gets the flag, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Teddy's a personal foul waiting to happen.
I'm loving doing these shows with you, Steve. Don't tell Teddy that. Just loving him.
That's a great line. Prez, you got to trademark that, man. Teddy's a personal foul waiting to happen. That is a fantastic line.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Rob, let's get into it, man. Detroit playing Kansas City. Well, Kansas City, they swept the season against Milwaukee. I was on an 18-3 run. I'm now on an 18-6 run, and largely because of Kansas City. So that means to me, and I'm not betting Detroit here, but you could pretty much take Detroit to the bank because I'm not betting against Kansas City for the first time this week. Rob?
Yeah, the last 7 games they've played, guys that have backed Detroit have taken them to the bank. And, Prez, it just the starting pitching matchup here alone would probably lean you right to Detroit if you just ignored the fact that they're the hottest team in baseball. But Willie Peralta, the starter tonight, his last 5 starts. And in this game, guys, I'm going first 5 innings. Detroit minus 105, first 5 innings. Okay. And the last 5 starts he's had, the 5 innings score in those 5 games, 5-0, 4-1, 1-0, 4-1, 2-0, all 5 wins for Detroit. So that's a good start here. In those 5 starts, Willie Peralta, how about this? 26 2/3 innings pitched, only 21 base runners allowed. That's a 0.79 whip. In those 26 2/3 innings, only 1 run allowed. Obviously, that would be 1 earned run as well. 0.34 ERA, only 1 home run allowed, a 148 batting average against, a 218 on base percentage against. The guy's absolutely dominating right now, so no reason to look the other way. If you go to the other pitcher on the hill, the starter for KC is Kris Bubic. His last 5 starts, he's had 13 Ks and 22 walks. Having a negative strikeout to walk ratio is rare. Somehow Bubic has managed to do it. He hasn't lasted more than 4 2/3 innings pitched in any of those 5 starts. He's given up at least 5 earned runs in 4 of those. Here's the sign of a struggle, guys. I use a statistic, pitches per inning. Kris Bubic, in his last 5 starts, he averages 20.9 pitches per inning, 21 pitches per inning. Just do the math. It's insane. It's why the guy's out of the game every 4 1/3, 4 2/3. Not just obviously he's given up a bunch of runs, but it's a struggle for this guy right now. 46 base runners allowed in his last 21 1/3. That's a 2.16 whip. something minor here. The Royals have never seen Willie Peralta as a starter. That could help Peralta in this case. And again, I played this 5-inning line because the Tigers closer, Gregory Soto, figures to be unavailable. He threw all 3 games in this past series, and he threw 47 pitches the last 3 days. So without the closer, I'm a little afraid of the bullpen and things changing in the late innings. So give me Detroit first 5 minus $1.05.
Yeah, and Rob, the Tigers are a team I'd mentioned a couple times here on the show how they were been red hot, but I think their last 12 games have been against Texas and Minnesota. So obviously not taking a step up in class necessarily with the Royals here, but we'll see how this one plays out. Let's move on to another baseball game though. I've got you here, and we're going to get to some college football, which Prez and I are definitely excited about. But let me know here about this Oakland-Seattle game. This game I might talk about here in a moment. I want to get your takes as well.
Yeah, again, Steve, it starts with the starting pitching like so many baseball handicaps do. Frankie Montas against Kikuchi in this one. Frankie Montas has been great in 6 of his last 7 games. He's gone between 5 2/3 and 7 innings in 6 of those 7, and he's allowed 2 earned runs or less in those 6 games. And that includes, it's not cheap, right? Because it includes starts against Boston, Houston, the Angels, and San Francisco. In those 6 games, his strikeout to walk ratio or total is 41-9. It's almost a 5-1 ratio. Very, very good. Seattle, real quick here, since Montas is on a strikeout warpath, Seattle's 27th in Major League Baseball in strikeout percentage. They strike out almost 26% of the time against right-handed pitching, which Montas is. And if you want to add to that, Seattle, as a home offense, they're the worst in Major League Baseball in OPS. They rank 30th with a 636. The last 3 times Montas has faced this team, struck out 33 Mariners. So he should be good. Anybody playing K props here, and I know our own mid-major Matt is the source to go to for that stuff, but Montas's K prop looks pretty good here tonight. For Kikuchi, it's the opposite end of the spectrum. He's been blasted his last 2 outings, one before the break, one after the break. 10 innings pitched, 12 earned runs, 21 base runners allowed. That equals a 10.8 ERA and a 2.1 whip. Prior to that, he had been really good. So you kind of wonder what's going on with Kikuchi at this point in time. I played full game for a couple of reasons, but mainly because Kikuchi in his career against Oakland has been real good. I mean, the last 3 times he's thrown against these guys, it's been 6 innings pitched and 1 earned run, those 18 innings. Only 1 earned around in all of those. The problem is Oakland's won 2 of those. As soon as Kikuchi leaves the game, Oakland has pulled it out in the end. In this case, when you look at the bullpens, trust Oakland's more. They're ready to roll, as is Seattle's, but I like Oakland's back-end arms. If Montas and Kikuchi both throw well, I'll play full game thinking that Oakland's going to win it in the end. The under is a possibility here. The only reason I didn't play it is I just don't trust Kikuchi's current form. Otherwise, with his dominance against the A's and with Montas's dominance against the Mariners, you might look under here. Total's too low for me, though, at 7.5. Yeah. So give me Oakland minus $1.25.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you about the under, Rob. I think I agree with you. I think it's in play, but I agree with you as well. It is too low. It did not make my card. Everybody knows I like my Kikuchi medium rare.
Knew that was coming.
Michael O'Brien, one of our great listeners, he writes, Rob Veno is a genius. How do you feel about that, Robert?
Well,
okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll just
Sir Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein know that.
Well, Prez, I'm just going to say, if the other genius that's been on the show recently was John Ryan, and then, of course, we referenced Tony Finn, who's probably a genius in some form. The 3 of them are on every day at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Form.
Right. A predictive playbook. You can see the 3 residents geniuses at WagerTalk and Sports Memo at 4 p.m. every weekday, including today on Friday. I might jump in on Fridays as I do predictive playbook. Just look at John Ryan or Rob's Twitter handle, and you'll see the showtime. So, yeah, you get a lot of geniuses for your money. More bang for your buck there at 4 p.m. Eastern every weekday.
Steve and Rob, before we move to college football, the MVP of WagerTalk, Missy. She handles the entire Detroit office. A whole lot
30 today.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Missy. We love you, and you really are our MVP. So if you're listening to this show, have yourself an incredible day, and thanks for all your wonderful and hard work. Rob, college football right around the corner, 5-6 weeks away. I'm excited. Not really. I just want summer to never end, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'll be excited when we get there. Tennessee, Vols, you playing the over or the under on their win total?
Yeah, first off, let me thank Michael in the chat room for the compliment. And then secondly, let me just say happy birthday to Missy as well. Obviously, the anchor to a lot of things that go on here at WagerTalk.com. Prez, I'm going to play under 6.5 wins with Tennessee. This is a complete overhaul. Coaching staff, systems, the whole works, right? Josh Heupel comes in, brings a new offensive coordinator, brings a new defensive coordinator. That's one thing. It's difficult enough, right? And these teams did have spring practice this year, so they've had some time to work on the new systems. All of this system has not been implemented. It'll be continued to be implemented here in fall camp for Tennessee. But what is most alarming about Tennessee is the way they were rated by the transfer portal. This team lost 4, according to 247 Sports, who ranks these things. Tennessee lost 4 of the top 14 transfers available to the portal. They lost their top 2 running backs. They lost their best linebacker. They lost their best left tackle. That doesn't help any. I know that, they can recruit a little bit in Knoxville, but that's troublesome when you lose that many players. The schedule here is what you really have to look at when you're playing these things on paper, because we can't predict injury or anything else. But on paper, this schedule to me only sets up with 5 games that Tennessee will be definitively favorite in. Otherwise, the other 7 look like they're going to be underdogs. You're talking about a total of 6.5, where a team should only be favored 5 times. I don't know that Tennessee gets there this first year. I like Josh Heupel. Obviously, that offensive system is going to be new to the SEC. Auburn did play Central Florida in a bowl game a couple of years back, but Josh Heupel was not the head coach then. It was Scott Frost. So this system a little bit unseen. Mike Leach brought it in last year. I think Tennessee's destined for less than 6.5 wins here. So that's the way I'm going to play it. And real quick, for a full overview of the SEC this afternoon, myself and Drew Martin will be doing an SEC overview with a lot of notes from that conference, which apparently is going to take Oklahoma and Texas now in with it.
Yeah, that's a lot of hurdles still to overcome, but I'm sure they'll get it done. Rob Veno joining us. And Rob, can't thank you enough, man. Awesome stuff. Your breakdown's incredible. According to some of our listeners, you're a genius. According to Steve and I, well, we'll like to ask you what you have to promote today.
I can promote Major League Baseball, a 4% best bet up and available right now at WagerTalk.com. That card will probably have 2 additions to it, Prez. So check in during the day. But right now, 4% best bet up and available at WagerTalk.com.
And congratulations for an outstanding NBA season, my friend. Awesome stuff. You ended it the number 1 expert again, 2 years running. Get out of here, brother. We got a whole lot more. Skee Profit still joining us. Kyle Anthony. We'll be right back.
What's better than $2 Tuesday at Sports Memo? How about Freebie Friday? We can't go any lower than free, and each and every Friday we'll hand select a best bet from one of the hottest handicappers on the site and give it out for free. All you have to do is each and every Friday, head over to sportsmemo.com. The Freebie Friday will be listed on the homepage, and you'll be just a click away from a free bet.
It's time for a little big game breakdown here on Wager Talk Today. Friday, July 23rd. Going to take a look on the late night card here. I'm going to piggyback on the game Rob Veno just talked about, but I want to dig a little deeper into it because I agree with them. And that's the Oakland Athletics minus $1.20. That goes at 10 p.m. Eastern Friday night. I was very close to using Oakland last night at Seattle. As we've talked about numerous times on this show the past couple of weeks, Seattle is a play-against team for me in the second half of the season. And I was close to using Oakland last night, but I stayed off that game because they were coming off a back-to-back sweep, 2-game sweep against the Angels, a critical divisional series, had to travel without rest. Seattle also hit the ball pretty well. Now, I know it was in Coors Field. I don't put too much into that, but Seattle played pretty well offensively at Coors Field. So I kind of wanted to take a wait-and-see approach, see how game one played out in this series last night on Thursday. And started slow. It was a 0-0 game going into the fifth inning. Oakland got a couple runs, and they got 2 runs in the late part of the game, ended up winning 4-1. But offensively, Seattle was really weak. And I think that's a good sign now to start fading Seattle. 4 hits last night. They only had 5 hits in Coors Field the game before that, as it looked like they were starting to cool off in that final game in Coors Field. And the reason, for those of you who haven't heard me say it before, I'll reiterate why I think Seattle is such a play-against team. I like to look at run differential overall this season. And when you're talking about 162 games, one-loss records really start to dictate the expected one-loss records over the long term. And Seattle has had the biggest discrepancy of any team in the league so far. They're 51-46 on the season, yet they're 55 negative runs, which should be 43 and 54 rather. And the reason is because they're winning a lot of one-run games. They're now 28 this season in one-run games. Some of that is because of good closers and good bullpen, but a lot of it's random variance, especially when you look at the extra inning record. Their extra inning record is off the charts. Now that the runner goes to second base in the 10th inning, we're seeing bullpens more unpredictable as ever, as I talked about earlier in the show, especially with the spin rate debacle. They're 10-1. Seattle's 10-1 in extra inning games this year. I think that's extremely random. If you look at most other teams in the league, they're around 500, give or take a game. So I do think there's a lot of downside to Seattle. Meanwhile, I think there is some upside to the Oakland A's, a team that's 14 games above 500.
Yeah.
Played well last night with 11 hits. Seattle, once again, only 4 hits, and we get them at minus $1.20. Rob talked about the starting pitching edge for Oakland, but I wanted to dig into the offensive and current momentum edge and just the fact that Seattle's a pure play against for me. So we'll go against Seattle with a very cheap price here. Oakland A's minus $1.20 is at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight on Friday. Back to you, Prez.
Great stuff, Steve Merril. And guys, come on, please hit that like button for us. It would be really, really appreciated. Steve Skee Profit joining us. And well, I want to bring him in because I came up with a really good idea. And Skee being the cool cat that he is, I want to know his thoughts. So Skee, Cleveland Guardians, thumbs up or down?
I don't think it's a great name.
So I got a name. I came up with it during Steve's big game breakdown, which was on I don't know what game. I didn't listen. So, you ready? It's all about marketing. Everything is about marketing. The Cleveland Catch. It makes so much sense. You could be like, catch the wave, catch this, catch that. Catch is a pun because people catch in baseball. No other team has that name, and it's an alliteration.
I'll go for it, but, I'll say they could just even put baseball team. I'll take anything over Guardians. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Guardians.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah,
Cleveland Catch is good. No?
No,
what did you say?
The only thing that would have been worse, it would have been baseball team. What the Redskins have done for these 2 years coming.
Oh,
for
enough
year.
with the Redskins. Move on from the Redskins. Do you like the name Cleveland Catch?
Okay, it's better than Guardians.
Well, okay. They probably spent $3 million coming up with Guardians. I spent 3 minutes during your big game breakdown.
Well, I'll say about the Indians real quick.
A 7.
They need a historic name. They need something that's been around for 100 years because that's an old franchise. And Catch seems kind of like arena football-ish, so.
Okay, the Cleveland Clobberers. That would be the name 120 years ago. Cleveland Clobberers or something.
It was actually Spiders. And that's one of the front runners was Spiders for the past year, which I didn't like at all, by the way. The Cleveland Rocks, I guess because of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, maybe. Cleveland Rocks was the other one.
Cleveland Rocks. That's awesome.
You like that one? That was the other one for Prez. I'd heard Spiders and Rocks. I had never heard Guardians. So that kind of came out of nowhere for me. And I also would like some reference to the movie. I do my Just a Bit Outside segment here. And, you could have done Wild Thing, Cleveland Wild Things, or something like that would have been catchy.
Okay, we got to move on. We got to move on, guys. Skee, LA Angels.
Real quick.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
It's about baseball, at least. Kikuchi, you guys were just talking about that game where Steve was. He's been one of the more popular pitchers this year, but he's a guy in general for the long term that I faded, usually on overs. But he's given up, 12 runs his last 2 starts? Is he coming back down to earth? What do you think?
Veno faded him also, Skee, in the earlier segment. So, yeah, I think Rob was anti-Kikuchi.
Okay,
you
cool.
know, Skee, I'll answer that question myself. Is he coming down to earth? You know, you can't say yes or no to any of that stuff, and that's what makes betting so interesting and so hard. I mean, you go through Baumgartner's best years or Kershaw's best years or, you know, anybody, Clemens when he was in the zone, and all of them had a 2-game period where they just couldn't keep the ball out of play. So I think what we need to see is what happens tonight, because normally a great pitcher will sort of end that moment after 2. You're not going to get, you know, Keuchel at his best going 3 bad games. So tonight I think is a very important night for Kikuchi. Anyway, LA Angels, Minnesota, Cobb versus Happ. Cobb 7-3 with an ERA under 4. LA Angels, man, 3 out of 4 they've lost. Minnesota can't get out of their own way. How do we bet this game?
Well, I took this game last night. I'm not sure what the price is now, but I got Angels -120. And really, I mean, every time I see J.A. Happ out there, I want to fade him. His last 18 in the third, he's given up 14 runs, and he has an ERA north of 6. So generally, always want to fade that guy. Twins bullpen hasn't been great since the All-Star. Haven't been great in general, but since the All-Star, ERA close to 5. And Angels, 4th weighted runs created plus versus left-handed pitching. So I like the Angels. I like Alex Cobb. He's looked good. His last, close to 20 innings pitched, he's only given up 4. And the last time he faced the Twins, he only gave up 1 over 5 innings. So I like the Angels. I'm not mad if you want to go first 5 and take the bullpens out, because neither bullpen is great. And we saw a lot of mishaps with the bullpens lately. But I'll take the Angels on the full game money line.
Yeah, and Skee, I mean, the trade deadline's looming. Obviously, the Twins are definitely one of the biggest sellers. They have been the second biggest money burner in baseball this year. Going into last night, the D-backs are -32 units. The Twins are -20 units on the season. I actually did a video on the Twins yesterday, and it was, I thought, a decent spot, and they still couldn't get it done, like you said. 57 overs going into the game last night. The Astros and Angels had 55 overs on the season. So what quick thought of maybe the total on this one? These are 2 teams that have had more overs than any other teams in baseball this year. Not last night, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in general, I try to pick on the Angels bullpen as much as I can when I'm live betting. So I agree with an over. I think both bullpens are I don't want to say terrible, but they're not good. And J.A. Happ is terrible. So I would be expecting a lot of runs. Not necessarily from the Twin side, though. Alex Cobb has been good. If I had to pick a full game total, though, I would go over. I would prefer Angels team total.
Skee Profits, everyone. Skee Profit, WagerTalk.com. And Skee, let's move to the Washington-Baltimore game, a game that I was so close to releasing. I logged on early to WagerTalk Today, spoke to one of the people that were on WagerTalk Today waiting for me, Joe Ranieri. I'm like, Joe, I'm thinking Washington, man. I'm thinking Washington, Corbin versus Lopez. Joe's like, no, I really like the over. There's going to be a lot of hits. Corbin's a stiff. Lopez is a gas can. I think those were his words. So there you go. I liked Washington. Joe liked the over. What do you like?
You know, I agree with. There we go. My bad. I thought I was muted. I agree with both of you guys. I agree with everything Joe said. I mean, Corbin, you look at him, he has an ERA north of 6 on the road. Last time he faced the Orioles, he went a little bit under 11 innings, gave up 9 runs. So he can get touched here for sure. And Jorge Lopez, another guy that I'm always looking to fade. Like Joe said, he's a gas can. His last 18 innings, he's given up 17 runs. So I'm not mad. Full game over makes a hell of a lot of sense to me. They played 3 times this year. Nationals batting 358 versus Baltimore. Baltimore batting 287 versus the Nationals. And Orioles bullpen has looked a little bit better as of late, but I still don't have confidence in them. And Nationals bullpen has been scary. So for that reason, Prez, I don't want to get involved with the Nationals money line just because the bullpen can give it up. So I went Nationals team total here at 5.5 at plus money.
Nice.
Over the last 6 games, they averaged 7.5 runs. And I want to fade Jorge Lopez, fade the bullpen. So Nationals over 5.5 team total.
Yeah, and Prez, I'm going to ask him real quick here about this division because Skee, I want to know your thoughts on the NL East, or the NL East as we've been calling it. Mets 4 games up now over both Atlanta and Philly. Nationals 6 back, so it looks like the Nationals are still in the mix. How do you think that division is going to play out in the long term?
I'm always the guy who's honest, and I don't look at baseball that way. Like, baseball is one of the sports I started learning in the more recent years, like maybe like 2014, 2015-ish. I just kind of cap it day to day. I don't really get involved with playing any futures or looking long term. I'm just seeing who's going to make me some money today.
Sounds good.
Ski Profit, guys, I got to mention Aurora, one of the best listeners we have, period. Aurora Murray, she's on an airplane heading down to Las Vegas right now. She paid the $10 Wi-Fi just to watch this show. So shout out to you, Aurora. Thank you for doing that. See, Sebastian, I did it before you even suggested it. And Michael O'Brien likes his Kikuchi medium rare as well. Skee, Colorado Dodgers Price. Where did this come from? 4-0, 3.12 ERA. I'm going to talk about this game briefly in the penalty box segment. I like the Dodgers on the run line, -1.5. They did lose 3 of 4 to San Fran, but this is not San Fran. How you betting this game?
Yeah, this game. Well, first of all, I'll say I really chose this game because, for one, Veno picked another game that I like. I support his Tigers first 5 look. And secondly, I just have to mention, man, that game last night, that was sickening for me as a fan and as a bettor. Kenley Jansen just blows up time after time, and Roberts continues to put him out there. For this game today, I think the Dodgers can go on a run. They're getting the Rockies on the road. We know they aren't great. And they get to face Chichi Gonzalez today. He's another guy who's a gas can. His last 9 innings pitched, he's given up 10. And when he faced the Dodgers, I think the Dodgers were the last game that he started. He went 4 innings and gave up 7. So they hit him well. And I think it's a bounce back time after that terrible series versus the Giants. ERA for the Rockies since the All-Star break, 6.26. So even though Dodgers, I want to say bullpen, but really it's just Jansen who's been giving it up. I trust the Dodgers here. I'm with you. I like them -1.5. It's a little bit juiced. I think you can even get the team total at 5.5. I just see a lot of runs given up. I think they can get 5.5 off Gonzalez alone. So if you have a Dodgers first 5 team total, I like that. I just see a lot of runs scored from LA today.
Nicely done. Guys, I screwed up. Rara's a he, not a she. Who knew? I don't meet these people. I just assumed Rara. I mean, if you're going with Rara, you sound feminine to me. Anyway, it's short for Rashim, which almost kind of rhymes with Hakeem. So, welcome to the team. Skee, what do you got to promote?
Triple rhyme. Triple score.
He said, what I have to promote? I've made 3 MLB plays today. And, I'm looking at 1 or 2 more. I've been doing pretty well in MLB. I won 6 of my last 7 before that disaster last night on the Dodgers. So looking to get back on track in Major League Baseball tonight.
Get out of here, brother. Skee Profit, you can find him at WagerTalk.com. I want to give Andrew McGinnis a shout out. Steve, Andrew McGinnis's baseball season's been just sick. He's 10-1 in his last, or 9-1, I think, in his last 10 5% plays. He's got a 5% baseball play up tonight. He should have let me know. Instead, one of the people in the chat room let me know, which is outstanding because it just goes to show how into Wager Talk a lot of these. Oh my God, Kyle's here. Got to calm down. Breathe.
Breathe, Prez. Breathe. In and out. Slow that heart rate down. By the way, Matt Joseph's the Friday freebie at Sports Memo. Our man Matt Joseph, get his best bet for free today on Friday at sportsmemo.com. Don't forget as well.
Yeah, and Matt's so freaking good. Kyle Anthony, dude. Kyle the Specimen Anthony. How's that? Is that good? The Specimen?
I like that. I'm gonna put that in Wager Talk.
Okay. So brother, you want to talk some Dillashaw guy, plus 150, man. I mean, literally at the top of his game, and then it all went wrong, and then he took a break. And now he's back, and a big, fat, juicy dog. And I got to think, Kyle, he's super live.
You know, I think he is. I think that there's definitely a opportunity for him to. But there's a lot of reasons why I actually don't like Dillashaw in this spot. And obviously, you know, being out for 2 years and the EPO list body of him is going to be, you know, that's going to be the storyline. But I think that really over those 2 years, Corey Sandhagen has been an absolute stud, going 5-1 over that span in those 2 years. He went out there, and not only that, he's got back-to-back knockout finishes, spectacular fashion against Marlon Moraes and Frankie Edgar. But really, the part that I think really starts to kind of pull me away from Dillashaw are the three factors. And I think it's going to be the EPO. You know, who knows how that's going to affect. Obviously, we can only take so much from that. But that 2-year layoff, obviously, ring rust is a real thing. All fighters talk about that. And then he's 35. You know, he's no spring chicken anymore when it comes to this. And last weekend, we had cashed in on Miesha Tate minus 120. She was out for 5 years. You know, that was a big thing. She's out for 5 years. Yeah. She's out for 5 years. But the difference that Miesha Tate coming back compared to Dillashaw is who Miesha Tate fought. I mean, Miesha Tate came back against Marion Renault, who's 44, was 0-4 in her last 4, on a retirement fight, and can't stop takedowns. So there was just a lot of value on the minus 120 line, where you've got somebody like Dillashaw who's coming back, you know, and again, he is a stud. He is a great fighter. But I think this is just, there's no tune-up fight. I think that's a massive mistake for Dillashaw that he's not getting a tune-up fight. I think that's going to be a big issue for him here. I think he's taking too much here. I think the reach is going to be a lot for Sandhagen. So I like Sandhagen to get this victory. I bet it at minus 180. But I like the knockout. I think knockout plus 140 is a great line in a 5-round fight. I think he goes out there, and I think he could dominate. I really think he could dominate. I don't hate the play, though, Prez. I don't hate the play on Dillashaw, but I think that this could be the beginning of the end for him.
And Kyle, Prez, of course, gives me the next one with the pronunciation nightmare here. Was it Heinzek and Imavov, or I'm not going to even try. I'll tell you what jumps out to me.
Nasruddin Imavov.
Nasruddin. Yeah, I wasn't trying the first name. My goodness. But I'll tell you, what jumps out to me about this one, though, is first of all, you got one guy that's 6 years older, and the younger guy also has a 3-inch reach advantage and is about 5 inches taller. Only a 3-inch reach advantage, but 5 inches taller. That always jumps out to me. So talk to me about this one.
So this one here, I actually think this line is off. I would actually cap Heinisch at a minus 200 or higher. I'm really just not impressed with Imavov really at all. You know, he's has 2 UFC fights. His first fight, he ended up winning against Jordan Williams. Jordan Williams is 1-1 in Dana White's Contender Series, and he ended up losing his most recent fight against Phil Haas. Phil Haas, you know, was able to kind of, you know, didn't have the cardio, but kind of just latched on, able to kind of get that victory. But the big thing for me here is the terrible cardio of Imavov. Imavov has great striking. You know, I wouldn't say great, but he's got good striking. This is going to be a wrestler versus grappler, wrestler versus striker kind of situation. And one thing that Heinisch has is fantastic cardio. So he's able to push a pace, and that's something that also Imavov has shown. He can't get off the fence. He can't break away. When he's in space, he looks good. He's flashy. I think that first round, he's going to be alive where he's going to be able to kind of land some nice shots. But he just really falls off a cliff when it gets into that second, into that third round. And the pace at which he pushes, Heinisch pushes, is going to be a lot to overcome. Also, Imavov is extremely hittable. So I think this is a spot where I do like Heinisch, but I also think the knockout, this is another spot where I do like the knockout. Knockout is plus 500. I think this is a spot where Heinisch is going to be able to kind of drag him into deep water in that second or third round is where I really think that Heinisch is going to start ground and pounding, keeping him down. If Bill Haas had any kind of energy, he would have done the same thing. Instead of winning by decision, he would have won by knockout. Heinisch is not going to stop. He's going to push that pace. So I like that plus 500 line. I think that's really, really a good price on a guy that I think should be a minus 200.
Awesome stuff, Kyle. I mean, you definitely know your UFC. That is for sure. You've cashed 5 of your last 6 UFC cards, up 21% return over that time period. A couple of quick questions. Firstly, what do you got going for this weekend's card?
Yeah, so I actually had 5 plays in the package. One was a 4% play. One fell off. Aspen Ladd fell off, which I thought was really going to be a great spot. Regardless, I thought she was going to go out there and get that finish. So we have 4 plays up there right now in the package. Definitely take a look, and ready to make it keep that streak going and make another cash.
Are you doing anything for the Olympics? I know there's boxing and judo and taekwondo and kung fu and Muay Thai and Krav Maga and Taiwanese leg kicking, bridge breaking. I mean, the
Olympics you watch.
I don't even know what bridge breaking is, dude.
I don't either.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at some spots there, and if I do, I'll be posting them up there. But yeah, I mean, I'm always taking a look for some spots when it comes to combat sports.
Kyle the Specimen Anthony, everybody, get out of here, brother. It's time for the penalty box segment. Almost time for the penalty box. Joe took a little bit of a nap.
He's trying to find another Water Olympics photo of you.
He's looking for, what the odds are on bridge breaking.
Men's synchronized swimming.
Yeah, Steve,
don't
do
it. The penalty box. Don't you do that, Joey Mary. You bring that karma on me, my
Steve.
man.
Oh, that was beautiful. I love Joe's laugh, man. Laughing in our ear. Guys, I want to shout out to all the people who watched Wager Talk today. Thank you guys so much for you guys watching this video on Twitter. What a show. You can find us every day, 12 to 1 Eastern on our YouTube channel, Wager Talk TV. A happy birthday to Missy Mitchell, the best customer service person ever. So good, she got promoted to the top of the chain. Happy birthday, Missy. You're our MVP. As for our free picks today, well, Steve, man, I like this card. I don't love this card. I left 4 plays out. I did release 1 play to my clients. I'm on an 18-6 baseball run. You can find it at wagertalk.com. But these 4 plays, I will be betting somewhere around 2 units on each play myself. And that is San Francisco on the run line, the LA Dodgers on the run line. I will likely do a very small parlay with both those teams on the money line as well. I also like the under in the St. Louis Cardinals game, and I like the over in the Houston Astros game. I could not decide whether to play Houston minus 1.5 or the over. I actually like the over better now that it's been bet down slightly. I went to bed, it was 9. Now there's 8.5s out there. So I am going to the over instead of the run line. And that's really it, man. What an outstanding week. We'll see you guys all on Monday. Steve, I think I've taken us home, bro. Anything else?
No, well, thank you once again to the genius, Rob Veno, for joining us. Skee Prophet, the cool man, what are we calling Skee? And then the specimen, Kyle Anthony. It was nicknamed Friday here, and they're all better than the Cleveland Guardians or the Washington football team. I know that much. But Prez,
hey,
one more
Chris,
week, you and me. One more week next week. Teddy's still on hiatus, on assignment.
Yeah, dude. Good riddance with Teddy. Steve, Chris Allen logs on, another worker at Wager Talk, awesome guy. He's like, Prez, you should trademark Cleveland Catch. I'm not going to trademark it. So Cleveland, if you're listening, it is a name that lends itself to a lot of marketing opportunities. And that's all that matters in today's world. Steve, Namaste. Thank you, Joe.
From now until the end of July, all WagerTalk and Sports Memo customers can load as many as 3 and 7-day all-access passes as they want into their shopping cart and take 60% off using coupon code CART60. This coupon code can be used only once at WagerTalk and once at Sports Memo, but there is no limit to the amount of 3 and 7-day all-access passes you can load into your cart when redeeming. Every handicapper is eligible, so take advantage of the biggest discount we have ever offered. And don't forget, coupon code CART60 can only be used once per site and expires when the clock strikes midnight on July 31st.